I've driven that stretch of Route 91 more times than I can count. A 2-lane strip of asphalt winding through nothing but pine forest, with no streetlights, no gas stations, and no cell reception for nearly 15 miles. It is the kind of road you only take when you're in a hurry or when you avoiding the interstate for reasons you don't want to admit. That night, it was the former. I had just finished a late shift in the city and was heading home, the clock creeping past midnight. The air was cold enough to frost the edges of my windshield, and the world outside felt hollow. It was the kind of night where you feel like you were the only person awake for miles. I saw it at first as a shape. Something dark against the pale wash of my headlights, parked half on the shoulder and half in the ditch. A car, not unusual, right? People break down. But this one, there was something off. No hazard lights, no reflectors, no movement, just stillness. I slowed as I approached, my tires crunching over gravel. The make was familiar, a dark green Subaru Outback, mid-2000s model. I wouldn't have thought much of it, except I recognized the license plate. I slammed on the brakes. It was one of those moments where your brain takes a second to catch up with your eyes, but when it does, it hits like a punch. This car had been in the news. The missing person case. 3 weeks earlier, everyone in my county had been talking about her, Melissa Arnett. 27, last seen leaving a friend's apartment at 9:42 p.m. She never made it home. The police found nothing. No phone activity, no credit card use, no sightings. Her family had pleaded on TV. Flyers were everywhere, gas stations, diners, utility poles. And in every single one, there was a grainy picture of her Subaru. This was that Subaru. Same dent in the rear bumper. Same faded Keep Tahoe Blue sticker. And now, here it was, in the middle of nowhere, on a road nobody took at night. I pulled over, heart hammering, and grabbed my phone, no signal, just as I'd feared. The forest around me was silent, the kind of silence that presses against your ears until you start hearing phantom sounds. I stepped out, gravel shifting under my boots. The car looked untouched. No broken windows, no scratches. The driver's side door was closed, but when I reached for the handle, it opened. And that's when I felt it. Warmth. The engine was still warm. I hesitated, scanning the tree line. My headlights lit up the interior, 2 water bottles in the cup holders, a crumpled receipt on the passenger seat, an air freshener swaying from the mirror. And on the driver's seat, a phone, Melissa's phone. The lock screen lit up with a photo of her smiling with a golden retriever. I froze, hand hovering over it, my pulse so loud it drowned out everything else. The back seat had a jacket tossed carelessly across it, and the cup holder keys. No sign of a struggle. No blood. No sign that anyone had even tried to hide the fact that she had been here. I didn't hear anything at first, just the faint ticking of the cooling engine. But as I leaned further into the car, something shifted in the air. A sensation, like static running across the back of my neck. I turned toward the trees, scanning the black void between the trunks. The light from my headlights only reached so far, and beyond that was just swallowing darkness. I could swear something was in there, watching me. I backed away from the car, every instinct screaming at me to leave. My first thought was to drive to the nearest town and call the police. But then, another thought crept in. What if she was still out there? What if she had just walked away from the car? Maybe she was injured, disoriented. And maybe, if I left, whoever had taken her would come back before the police arrived. It was a stupid thought, a dangerous thought. But I couldn't shake it. So I grabbed my flashlight from the glove box and started toward the trees. The beam cut through the darkness, catching on branches and glistening frost. My breath clouded in front of me, the cold biting harder now. The forest was too quiet. No wind, no rustle of leaves, no night animals. Every few steps I stopped to listen. At first nothing, Then somewhere ahead, a snap. Like a foot breaking a twig. I called out, my voice barely above a whisper, "Melissa?" No answer. I found it maybe 20 feet from the road, a narrow path leading deeper into the woods. It wasn't an official trail, more like a game path animals had worn down. The beam of my flashlight caught something on the ground. Footprints. 2 sets. One smaller, likely hers, and one larger. Both led in the same direction. I followed, each step feeling heavier. The footprints ended at a small clearing. In the center, there was a fire pit, cold and unused for days, maybe weeks. But it wasn't the fire pit that made my stomach drop. It was what was sitting on a log next to it. A shoe. A single white sneaker, scuffed and muddy. The same kind Melissa had been wearing in the photos. I reached for it, but before I could touch it, I heard breathing. It was close. Too close. Slow, steady, deliberate. I swung the flashlight toward the sound and saw nothing. The breathing stopped, and then from behind me, hey,